Greetings, everyone, from the islands of tropical cyclone and hot, scorching sun. How's the weather on your side of the globe? I hope it's not as bad as ours. Yesterday we were drowning in rain. Today it's scorching hot outside. Which brings me to an important issue at hand. I wanted to share with you how I feel about a certain topic that is pressing enough to be considered a priority in our daily lives. We all watched the news when the former president announced the U.S.'s withdrawal from the Paris Agreement and the commotion that followed thereafter. I beg of you, please keep an open mind and allow me to share why it should be a priority for us all. We are currently engaged in an environmental war. We as human beings are at the front line of it. It is a war that cannot be fought with weapons of mass destruction. However, its effects are mass destruction to the environment we live in. Therefore, we should consider and treat this issue a priority. We are battling the end products of our actions, battling factors that we have no control over. However, we are main contributors to it. We are battling the effects of the forces of nature altered by our activities, the changes of temperature on Earth, glaciers melting, contributing to sea level rise, clouds of forest depleted, and decrease of wildlife habitat, air pollution are all from our action. Earth's current surface temperature has now increased by 1.6 degrees Fahrenheit. This has contributed to global warming that caused climate change, as reported by Christina Nunes in her article, What is Global Warming? Climate change is real, and climate change does not discriminate. There is no question that we are the cause. However, the question is, what can you do and what can I do to mitigate its effect? As human beings, we are considered stewards of the land, and we have power to change and reverse the effects of climate change. Earth needs our help to heal. We have done so much and have been taking constantly from Mother Earth. However, we can give back and help it recover if we work together to reduce our carbon footprint on the environment. A war that may not end, our actions now can determine the future for the next generation. If we continue to live as we do now, Earth's resources will be depleted in a decade. You and I are key players in this fight. Each one of us have the power to make a change when we change the way we live and be considerate of the environment. Feel the current temperature of your environment. The weather patterns are changing and the daily surge in heat is not of the norm and the end product of global warming. We're all feeling and experiencing the negative impacts and effects of climate change on the environment and on human race. The question remains, what will you do? What will I do? My simple answer is to reduce our carbon footprint on the environment. I live in an island surrounded by the Pacific Ocean. The tiny island of American Samoa is suffering a multitude of climate change related impact that is threatening not only our geography and the ecosystem, but also its population and unique culture. As Samoans, we are dependent on the ocean for our food and our daily meal. However, climate change has caused coral reef depletion and coral reef bleaching, which is killing off the many species of fish that we rely on for food. In addition, our oceans are causing mass destruction to our homes. Land is depleted and shorelines are eroded due to high surf. King tides continue to batter our roads and eat away at our land. The melting glaciers are contributing to high tide and our islands are slowly sinking. We cannot change climate change. However, we've learned to adapt and find ways to mitigate. Some of these include coral reef restoration projects and implementations of seawalls to battle the current high sea level rise. In our homes and our village settings, we are encouraged to fish just for our daily needs while leaving the population to replenish. This has been a successful installment, and as Dr. Pablo Concini wrote, climate change is adversely affecting human life, livelihood, food, water, and biodiversity, and it can change and challenge our economic growth. If we fail to reduce our carbon emission in the next decade, the number of hurricanes, severe storms, wildfires, and droughts are likely to double in number and intensity. Melissa Dunchak wrote in her article, Healing the Planet starts in your garage, in your kitchen, and at your dining table. How can you stop global warming? This is our first step to help mitigate climate change. We all know carbon dioxide is the main contributor to climate change. Our everyday life and activities contributes to carbon dioxide release in the environment because CO2 generates the energy needed to power the many things we use in our lives. Look for alternatives such as powering our homes with renewable energy like wind and solar powered energy, or invest in energy efficient appliance. In addition, opt to take shorter showers and conserve our water. Our main goal is to set a target to cut CO2 emission by 45% by the end of the decade, as recommended by Kimberly Nicholas in her article, 10 Simple Ways to Act on Climate Change. Though climate change may not be reversed, but we can help make some transitions in our way of living to mitigate its effect. This can be achieved by every individual making your own personal changes. Changes like carpooling instead of driving your own vehicle, choosing more efficient vehicles, and changing our diet to include local grown and raised meat and veggies instead of store-bought products. On a NASA website, it states, global scale, climate change is at a global scale that will be around for decades and centuries to come. We are aware of that, and we know that its effects cannot be reversed. However, we can start by making transitions with how we live. Even if the national scale is considered to be less important, we can change the course in our local capacity. We can encourage our families to continue minimizing our carbon footprint on the environment. While we are making these transitions, keep in mind that the fate of Earth as we know it, coast, farms, mountains, hangs in the balance and in our hands. Please support the cause and make the changes starting in our own homes. Thank you.